Ladies and gentlemen, Wuthering Waves has confirmed we have a skip button in the game. Hey, what is up guys? It's Mordant, and yes, Wuthering Waves has confirmed it in the latest dev notes that they dropped on their Twitter just a few minutes ago that there is a skip button in the game. So that means that if there's story content that you're not interested in seeing at the time, you can actually just skip ahead. That is awesome. Now, I think there's a caveat with this. I haven't clickbaited you in any way, but I think that the skip button might not be there in every bit of the story. This is me being very skeptical, but I think that Wuthering Waves is actually implementing this for parts of the story. But even if it's just in parts of the story, it is a huge W for Wuthering Waves. I mean, if they've already implemented this in Wuthering Waves, and then we have enough fan feedback for CBT to saying implement this in every single story in the game, trust me, it's definitely coming to global, and you all should definitely be excited for this. I am honestly very happy about this. Now, there are other things that Wuthering Waves talked about, including the combat, echoes, and story itself, including graphics and some other things. So let's get into those. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of the things that were announced in this new devlog from the devs were already talked about in the little interview that they had with Rexlent and the other content creator. So it's not really anything much, but it is nice confirmation for the things that we already know. Now, one of the major things for the combat that has changed, and we've already talked about this before, is the intro and outro skills. Now, I'm still very confused on how exactly this works, and Bitex too is also quite confused about this. It's not that I don't know what it does, it's I want to understand what specifically it does. What effects does it bring? What benefits does that bring into the team? That's not very clear to me at the moment, and it's something we'll need to get our hands on the game for in order to be able to understand. But there is one very cool thing that they didn't talk about in the interview with Rexlent and the other creator. It's this feature where we have the hologram of a boss that we can now challenge in the open world. Now, for those of you who did not know, this is the exact same feature that we had in G-Star and also at Tokyo Game Show. This was something that I never really thought about much, but it's very awesome to have. One of the things about this feature that also makes me happy is in one of the paragraphs very close to this, the dev team did not forget their initial statements that they wanted to make this game cater to both the casual players and to the very skilled players. This feature of having the bosses in the holograms is it's just perfect. It's perfect for people who are casual players, because a casual player will never go there, and as long as there are no major rewards tied to it, a casual player can go the rest of their days playing Wuthering Waves, doing whatever they want to do without ever going near that. But then a skilled player who wants to test out their skill, who wants to mold, all they just need to do is head over there and mold to their heart's content. I am telling you, this is one of the best things that they've added to the combat of Wuthering Waves. There is one little thing that I wanted to talk about. It's the fact that Kakkarot's name has actually been changed. It's now Kakkarot. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I have no idea. This might be a mistranslation or something, but basically Kakkarot, this character you're seeing on screen right now, has changed his name from Kakkarot to Kakkarot. And besides Kakkarot's name change, they also talked about the new characters that they brought in, being Jianxin and Lin Yang, and they also introduced 3 new bosses: Impermian's Heron, Mechabomination, and Tempest Memphis. Now, I have no idea what these 3 bosses are. I don't think we've ever seen them, but they did also mention that there's a new phase for the Scar boss, and we saw this in the Wuthering Waves CBT 2 trailer. It's this phase where he turns into this goat thing that he fights us with. Now, my thoughts on the combat changes in general is quite simple. Kuro Games has already delivered before in PGR. I don't really expect them to fumble the bag here, so I'm really happy that Wuthering Waves is shaping up to be a game that a lot of people will be able to enjoy. I really do hope that this game lives up to the expectations that a lot of people have for it. I am really, really happy that Wuthering Waves is listening to the fans. They're taking the information that a lot of people want and they're implementing it into their game. This is how they make their game to be the best that it can possibly be. And I am very, very happy. Now, because I've talked about expectations now, let me talk about something that they talked about close to the ending of this little devlog, which is the fact that they were trying to prepare us ahead of time for some of the problems that we may have in the game. One of them is the fact that on mobile, this game might burn through your battery a lot faster than usual. It may cause your phone to overheat, and you might have some other issues. There will also be no voice acting in the game. There might be some bad localization and all of that. So even with all of these problems that Wuthering Waves could potentially have, remember the proper way to go about CBT2. Kakkarot Games has already told us that they are listening to us. They know what we want. And as long as you tell Kakkarot Games what you want in a proper manner, they will be able to implement it. So even if the game is burning through your battery, even if it's doing whatever it's doing, make sure to let the devs know. Don't harass them. Don't tell them that their game is trash because of that. They are still in the closed beta testing phase, and because of that, there will be a lot of bugs. I just want to preface this because I do not want to see a case where people are complaining about X problem or Y problem. Now, with that said, let's continue on with the video. Now, there are two new events that are going to be coming to Wuthering Waves. These events are time limited. It's going to be the Depths of Elusive Realm and the Overdash Club track. Now, I do not know what these challenges are. We've got no idea what these challenges are, but if they are time limited events, it probably indicates that Wuthering Waves CBT2 is going to run for quite a long time. Now, 1 month is what I'm predicting that Wuthering Waves CBT2 will run, because that's right around the time when the content creator program for Wuthering Waves CBT2 ends. So it could be that Wuthering Waves will run for a full month, and if that's the case, that's right around the timing for one full patch of a game, and that gives them enough time to work on the game from March all the way to around June or higher, because I'm believing that the game is going to release June or higher, and then from there we'll have to see. Now, here's the thing, and I want to preface this again, and you guys are probably going to hear me talking about this listening to Kakkarot Games quite a bit. I'm very sorry, but if some of these events are good, can we as a community just agree to shout to Kakkarot Games to make some of these events permanent? Like, please, if some of these events are really good, be it combat, be it anything it is, parkour challenges, anything at all, be it whatever it is, if the challenge is really, really good, let us as a community tell Wuthering Waves that we want this to be a permanent event. They can take away any other event, but if we see a good event, let's make sure to tell Kakkarot Games to make sure that they keep this event permanent, because Kakkarot Games already listens. So let's try to be vocal with the things that we actually want. Now, some other things that they talked about was the way to obtain echoes. They already talked about this in the interview with Rexland and Dong. Basically, if you explore the open world once, you don't need to go out to explore the open world again in order to get echoes. All you just need to do is now challenge a tacit field. And when you challenge a tacit field, you have a higher chance to get any echo that you have already gotten in the open world. Then, after we talked about the echoes, we then talk about the open world, the graphics. Now, the major highlight of the graphics is that they've changed the graphics of the open world. The colors are a lot more vibrant and a lot more poppy now. So a lot of people aren't going to complain that the game is dull and moody. It wasn't something I ever disliked, but it is good to see an improvement. Now, one thing that caught my interest when I saw this was the fact that they talked about special effects and special events in the open world. Now, my friend Kat mentioned the retroact rain that was there, and then as you can see here, it got me thinking, is this actually something that could happen? It's sort of similar to how in Inazuma in Genshin Impact, you have some areas where the Tatarasuna will not allow you to progress unless you're able to clear out some story missions, some world quests. Is this the kind of, I think this is the kind of thing they're talking about, and it's pretty cool to have. But like I've already said, I don't want to see this as an event that only happens before you clear a certain quest. I want it to be an event that can happen at random at any time. So basically you're walking down the road and then it starts to rain, but then all of a sudden the rain isn't falling downwards, it's falling upwards. Wait, it's falling upwards? That sounds wrong. Guys, if you can't tell, I'm very happy about the things that we got in CBT 2. So I honestly, I'm very satisfied with the things that they've talked about in the devlog. It's not really anything much, and I've tried to highlight the things that are really major that were not talked about in the first CBT devlog. So I'll leave it at that. What do you guys think about all of these changes? And how hyped are you now for Wuthering Waves after seeing these updates, especially the skip button? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for story gameplay if I manage to get into CBT 2, and also subscribe to the channel for Wuthering Waves and Project Mugen updates. And with that said, I will catch you all in the next video. Peace, guys.